A few of you are showing up. Welcome. Let's give people another minute or two or 30 seconds to begin. A couple more folks. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the webinar about sustainability studies, which is a major and a minor at Rensselaer. I'm Professor Abby Kinchey. I'm a sociologist in the Science and Technology Studies Department, and I'm also the director of the Sustainability Studies undergraduate programs. So I'm really looking forward to talking about what we do in our department and answer your questions about opportunities here. And I'm here with Jennifer Cardinal, another professor in our department. You want to say hi?
Hi, yeah, my name is Jen. I teach in the Sustainability Studies program. I'm a lecturer. I've just been working at RPI this year, and it's been a really amazing experience. So I'm excited to talk to you all and answer any questions that you have about coming here.
Great. So I just want to start off, I'll tell you a little bit about what sustainability studies is. So in our program, sustainability students really focus on learning how to research, to write, and to communicate effectively about complex environmental issues. So you get that kind of education in our classes, in our sustainability careers course, and in our year-long senior project, which involves developing a research proposal and conducting research independently with the guidance of the professors in our department. We think that these kinds of skills are just so essential, particularly now in these times of complexity and uncertainty. That's what our major is all about, is really helping us to think about complex problems in sophisticated ways and to be great communicators about it. So we're going to talk a lot more about what this program does and what kinds of opportunities you might have here. I'm going to step off the screen for a few minutes. I'll be back in a little bit, but Professor Cardinal will talk a little bit about what you can do in our program.
Thanks, Abby. All right. So I'm going to take you through some of the information that you will want to have about becoming a sustainability studies major or dual majoring or adding it as a minor. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the classes that we teach and also about just the sustainability community on campus, right? Like how to connect with people that are interested in the same things that you might be. So if you want to dual major or minor in sustainability studies, it's a really well-rounded major for students who excel in both natural and social sciences. So many sustainability studies students choose to pursue dual majors with programs like chemistry, biology, environmental engineering, economics, or a wide array of other choices. Some pursue four-year course minor, and the major program culminates, as Abby was mentioning, in a full-year student thesis that synthesizes research, design, data collection, analysis, interpretation, and insight. And it launches students into diverse careers and advanced study. I'm teaching that class right now, and we have some really amazing senior theses being produced. A couple of the students have already been accepted into advanced study graduate programs, and the research that they've done for these is really launching them into that. A couple of other students in that program have career paths already mapped out, and again, these projects really like launched them into that. So it's a great thing to think about. The sustainability studies majors investigate environmental problems and sustainable solutions in 40 credit hours and a 16 credit complementary area of study in a field relevant to the environmental sustainability research. You can take classes like sustainability debates, environment and society, a century of environmental thought, sustainability education, environmental law, energy politics, resilience planning, sustainability careers, and foods, farm, and famine. We have a lot of really great courses to offer. That's just a few that we've listed there, but there are quite a few more. I also wanted to mention that if you come to RPI and you start, maybe you're in an engineering major and you take some sustainability studies courses and you realize this is really great, like this is what I'm interested in, I'd like to add on a dual major. We have an amazing administrative staff in the School of Social Sciences, Arts, and Humanities, and Michelle Riley in particular in the Haas Advising Hub is so great, and she can help you map out whatever classes that you need to take to make the dual major happen. So we've got a lot of students we're advising who have pretty packed schedules for the 4 years, and Michelle can really help you strategize about how to get your requirements done and still fit these two majors together. So we've got a lot of great resources. Sustainability classes are highly interactive. They're filled with deliberation and debate. Students are encouraged to learn about and respect diverse perspectives while developing their own. They really excel as translators between different disciplines as they move nimbly between the scientific, technical, and social dimensions of a range of contemporary issues. They're thinking in sophisticated ways about complex topics like the global food system, water pollution, and climate change. I've heard from a lot of my students that they are surprised and they appreciate coming into our classes and being able to shape the direction that they go. A lot of my classes in particular are discussion based and project based. So students will come in with discussion questions ready to go, and we'll just follow them wherever they're interested in. Usually I'll have a student acting as the discussion facilitator, and so they will be keeping the conversation going and sort of running things. And I've heard from students that this really is a useful skill, not only in other classes in college, but also beyond, right? And thinking about careers, being able to participate in really intellectually engaging discussions, to facilitate group work and discussions. These are really highly valuable skills that we establish early on in our program here. I think you can see in the picture that this is in the student garden. So you might enter in your first year and you think like, I'm really interested in sustainability stuff. You might opt to be in the Vasuda Living and Learning community. So this is like a bunch of students who are also interested in sustainability issues, and you live together in Nason Hall. And there's a classroom there, and that's also where we have our Nature Society class. So I taught that class this fall, and I think you can see in the picture here, Dara is a local farmer who came to give us a workshop on tending the garden. And I think you can also see in that picture, Brandon is one of our amazing sustainability studies professors. And this fall, what we did is Dara came and showed us how to harvest a lot of the produce that was already in there. And we had a big cookout, and it was great. It was a really fun time, and we learned a lot about regenerative farming and gardening practices. All right, so sustainability studies students learn a lot, right? A lot of really broadly applicable skills. You're going to learn to research, write, and communicate effectively about complex environmental issues. This is really important now. You're going to analyze the social, political, and economic dynamics of environmental problems and sustainable systems. You're going to develop a research project that can launch into graduate and professional studies. Gather and analyze data using methods such as ethnography and policy analysis. Collaborate with diverse stakeholders on policy and design interventions. Apply design processes and living systems patterns and sustainability challenges. Identify job niches and business opportunities to navigate the evolving sustainability studies careers landscape. We've got really great classes about internships and sustainability careers. So you might come into the program and you might have kind of an interest in these issues, right? Like these are really pressing, important issues of our time. And our students really work towards solutions to these problems that are equitable and inclusive. And it's an amazing learning experience. But you might wonder, how am I going to get a job using these skills, or what am I going to do? And we have some great classes that are going to help you figure that out. So, sustainability careers, and there's also an internship class. And a lot of students find their futures through these things, right? Like these are the things that launch them into their career paths. So, we've got all of those resources built in. I think I mentioned earlier the Vasuda Living and Learning Community in Nason Hall. If you are entering and you feel like you would want to live there and be a part of that program, it's really exciting and it's a fun way to just like find your community, meet people that are interested in the same things as you. You can also do that through some student clubs on campus. So, Student Sustainability Task Force has done a lot of really great work with sustainability initiatives for the RPI campus. So, they've made a lot of important changes on campus to make it more sustainability focused and green. There's also Engineers for a Sustainable World, Engineers Without Borders, and the Rensselaer Outing Club. I heard from a lot of my students last semester that they're really busy and college is a transition, right? And it's difficult, and there's a lot of work to be done. But through some of these clubs and through things like the Outing Club, they were able to connect with people that had similar interests, and they were also able to find really great things to do around the campus. So in Nature Society, we took a lot of field trips where we would walk from campus to beautiful community forests and go on hikes and explore some of the things that we were learning about in that class. There are also, through the Outing Club, you've got access to transportation, so you can go explore some of the beautiful mountains that we have around here, some of the beautiful waterways. And students talked about how this was like really rejuvenative for them, like in the midst of all of their studies and the hard work, to be able to connect in beautiful outdoor spaces around the campus. So students spend time in class conducting field research, working with local organizations, and exploring green spaces, forests, and waterways within walking distance to campus. Engaged community-based learning outside of the classroom and small group discussions characterize most sustainability studies courses. This is a welcome and inspiring shift from large lecture hall learning formats. Students report feeling a connection between this style of engaged learning and their overall well-being at Rensselaer, which I think is really important. You know, in our department, we really make sure to check in with everybody and make sure that they're doing well in all aspects of their life, not just in the class. All right, I think I'm going to switch it back over to Professor Kinchi at this point, and but I'll be around to answer more questions later.
Hi, thanks for that. I'm back. So I want to talk a little bit about student research at Rensselaer and sustainability studies. Um, our students, as I mentioned before, do a lot of research in their classes, learn many different research skills, drawing on the social sciences and the humanities, but also often combining those research methods with things that they're learning in their science and engineering courses, so that they end up leaving with a really good toolkit of methods for doing a wide range of different kinds of research. So I want to just highlight a few of our recent graduates and what they did for their senior thesis projects. There are so many great projects that, you know, it would be impossible to highlight them all, but here are just a couple from the last 2 years. Katie Tuttle, her project was titled Exploring the Pathways to Nature Connectedness Through Childhood Experiences in Nature. This project was a really fascinating one. So she was looking at literature and psychology about how feelings of well-being and connectedness to nature are related to each other. And she ended up exploring those ideas through in-depth interviews with other young people about their childhood experiences in nature. It was a really fascinating and well-developed project. Shelby McCarthy, another one of our recent graduates, did a project that was actually involved international comparison at the policy level. So looking at water politics and as you can tell by the title, this was a wide-ranging project, Water Politics as a Construct of Collective Identities Throughout the 20th and 21st Centuries. So she was looking at the history of public policy in a few different regions of the world that have dealt with water scarcity. Totally fascinating project. And just comparing these two thesis projects, you get a sense of the wide range of different ways that we approach sustainability in our department. It can be at the level of very personal connectedness to nature, and also these large scale historical and political changes in how we think about governing water, governing energy, and so forth. Kristen Wood was did another really impressive project. The title, The Elements of Outdoor Education and Cultural Immersion Programs that have the greatest positive impact on an individual's social and environmental engagement. And in this, she drew on her own experience doing kind of outdoor education programs that involved immersion in nature. And she wanted to understand how other people's experiences in those programs change their ideas about the environment, environmental change, environmental politics. So she developed and she designed a survey and conducted that survey. So again, another research method that our students engage. And finally, Dan Seal, he did a fascinating project called Fields in the Factories, Hydroponics, Organic Certification, and the Rationalization of Agriculture. And what that project was about was the growing emphasis on indoor farming methods, farming that involves very sophisticated greenhouses, hydroponics, and other approaches to rethinking what agriculture looks like. And so he looked at rules and regulations, as well as the many different forms of entrepreneurship and innovation that are emerging in this space. Again, just another fascinating project, and illustrate the wide range of different topics that our students can work on. I want to tell you about how students actually go and do these projects. So while on one hand, we're really trying to facilitate independent research, we want students to develop their own ideas and questions and then gain the skills to be able to carry out research on their own. Of course, we provide a huge amount of mentoring to make sure that they're successful. So I just want to highlight a few of our faculty members to give you a sense of the disciplinary strengths that they have, that is the different areas of study that they work in. And so the kinds of things they might mentor students on, not only teaching classes, but also advising research projects. So you've already met Jen Cardinal. Her work is about what does it mean to do sustainability in different communities around the world? How can we pursue sustainability projects in ways that are locally appropriate? So her work has taken her to Mexico, has worked in the United States, in the UK, and she does a lot of work with students right in Troy, thinking about sustainability initiatives here. Brandon Costello-Kuhn, his own research focuses on matters around science communication and data visualization and data accessibility. He teaches a lot of classes in our program and is the director of the Vasuta Living and Learning Community. So many of our students develop a really close relationship with him, and he advises on a wide range of different projects for students. Professor Howard is actually a practicing attorney who's also a lecturer in our department. And so we are really fortunate to have someone who is an environmental lawyer teaching sustainability classes. And I just want to highlight one class that he teaches, which is called Resilience Planning. And it's all about thinking about how do we build resilient communities from the local level to much larger scale, when we're facing climate change, changing weather patterns, and other things that might threaten the resilience of our communities. So we're really fortunate that we have someone who can bring legal expertise to these kinds of questions, as well as ideas about planning, which is another really important field. Oh, well, there's me. I can tell you a little bit about what I do. I'm a sociologist, and I really focus on questions around social movements and politics. So how do we organize to make change, particularly in the areas of water, energy, and food systems. And my most recent work is about what many people call citizen science. That is, how ordinary people participate in doing environmental research to help their communities and to make positive, sustainable steps in the world. So I love to work with students on a huge range of topics, but particularly when they end up overlapping with the kind of work that I currently do. In fact, I have 3 undergraduate research assistants this semester who are collaborating with me on a project about the problem that there's lead contamination in the soil in many urban communities. And so we're looking at questions about there are policy questions about how can we deal with this challenge. There are also community organizing questions that we can ask about what are the best ways for people to work together to address the problem of lead contamination in cities. And I'm just so lucky that I have 3 of our undergrad students working with me. So they're looking at different public policies that relate to this. They're looking at methods of doing community mapping so we can actually work with our neighbors to map out places that they are concerned about and that they are really wanting to protect and make safer and more useful places in their neighborhoods. And then a third researcher is actually looking at how do we garden in cities, given that a lot of our soil is contaminated with heavy metals like lead? So it's just great to have our students working on stuff like this. Jara Moshe she teaches in design as well as sustainability studies, and the work that she teaches really brings together issues of climate change with justice, gender, sexuality, and disability. So really fascinating classes that deal with a lot of social justice issues in relation to the environment. And then Guy Schaefer is another great professor in our department that, for example, teaches a course over the summer called Grassroots Science. And it's really thinking about how can we do sustainability science that connects with people in their everyday lives and their communities at the local level. So we're so lucky to have these professors that mentor students and are also doing really exciting research themselves. So, of course, we're always thinking about how to help you shape your careers. That's, of course, one of the most important things that you're thinking about when you're thinking about going to college. And I think that sustainability studies is a really great choice for students who want to have a meaningful career, something that resonates with their values and what they want to accomplish in the world. Sustainability studies opens doors to meaningful career paths in public policy, in green industries, and also in the nonprofit research and advocacy sector. We've also found that many of our students go on to graduate school in a wide range of fields: law, public health, advanced studies in environmental studies, planning, and so forth. And here are some of the ways that we enhance that. Our students have the opportunity to find really exciting internships and future job placements through our sustainability careers course, and also through something that we call Job Fest. It's an annual career fair that's kind of a sustainability and social justice focused career fest. So it's not your typical career fair. It's really pretty amazing. It's student driven, so students enrolled in the sustainability careers course help to recruit the participants, that is the potential employers, to Job Fest, and then of course do a lot of networking in the process of doing that. So the focus of Job Fest are companies that follow ethical practices, especially those that are benefiting our planet. We also see sustainability students launching careers in public policy and law. And it's really great to see that our students becoming passionate about our program in fields like climate change education, We've got a really cool program that we work with called EcoEd. It works with students from K through 12 to do all kinds of environmental education and then presentations of their work. So it's a nice connection between RPI and our local schools. We also see students doing internships and job preparation in public policy sector. We're actually in Troy. We're located just a short drive away from Albany, which is New York's state capital. And that means there are a lot of government-oriented internship opportunities. And in a minute, I'll tell you about one of our students who really used that to great benefit in her career. And then students often will do internships with advocacy organizations that are focusing on different dimensions of sustainability. And that often is a great way to figure out what you really care about and what you're passionate about for your career. And I've been really pleased to see that many of our graduates end up working in industry, but with the focus of making their companies greener and more sustainable. And then we also see students who go on to grad school. So here's just a couple of students that I want to highlight. Elizabeth Anderson, she graduated several years ago now, but she, in her time here, was able to get internship opportunities in Albany and ended up then working as a senior legislative budget analyst for the New York State Legislature in the Ways and Means Committee. This was a very important position, particularly thinking about budgeting questions for the state, dealing with a lot of different environmental issues. She just recently entered graduate school to gain more public policy expertise. She's going to Columbia University in the School of International and Public Affairs. And then Nancy Bush is a much more recent graduate of ours. She did a dual major in chemistry and sustainability studies. The whole time that she was at Rensselaer, she was involved in so many different sustainability clubs and local government. And she ended up writing a really interesting senior thesis that actually looked at the history of sustainability initiatives on our campus. So it was called Green at Rensselaer, Understanding the Struggle to Institutionalize Sustainability from the early 2000s to today. So she's really our local expert on sustainability initiatives here on campus. She did something really cool. She ended up working on the renovation of a green roof that we have on campus to actually attract more pollinators. And it was really exciting to see her work on that because part of that came out of work that she did in the class that I teach, Food, Farms, and Famine, where we talked a lot about the importance of pollinators and the threats that they experience. And so then she went on to use some of her access to, through the clubs that she's involved in and other things that she was doing when she was at RPI to make that green roof even more pollinator friendly. And now she's in grad school in environmental studies at the University of Southern California. So we're really proud of her. So let's see. I think this is most of what we want to share so far, but of course we want to take all your questions. If you are interested in declaring sustainability studies as a major, or as a dual major, you should declare it. Well, if you've already applied, but now you should you can contact the advisor in the School of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences named Brian Woods, and let him know that you're interested in listing sustainability studies as your major or as a dual major. And finally, if you're still not sure if you want to do it as a major, we also have a sustainability minor. The minor is essentially 4 classes, 16 credits, and you can apply to do the minor at any time while you're at Rensselaer. There's a simple form that you fill out. You indicate which classes you're going to take. Again, you would contact Brian Woods about that. We love knowing who our minors are and making sure that they have space in our classes. One good thing about declaring a major or a minor is that you ensure that you have access to the classes that you really want to take. So